Well, good morning, folks. Bobo here from 3Zen. Now I want to share an essay with you that I received from Sam Morgan. It was written by a friend of his and fellow Thud pilot, John Morrissey, and it's called The War Before the War. The war in Vietnam was a tough one, but not nearly as tough as it was long, very long. Many died, around 58,000 I am told. Many were friends. Most Americans today are not aware that there was another war going on before, superimposed upon, and continued after our shooting war in Indochina. It is seldom mentioned and less frequently reported. Make no mistake about it, the heavy lifting was done in that one. It lasted longer than the Vietnam's 11 years. The Vietnam War was the war within the war, and that war was called the Cold War. No bombs were dropped, no shots fired, a good thing, because it was a total stakes war. You didn't hear about it because neither player called the other's hand. The bet was just too high. So high that the winner's reward would be a horrific victory. We and our children are alive today because that hand was not called. And so no one really mentions or seems to remember that war, or wants to. Well, we won that war in 1991. The other side quit. The Soviet Union just ceased to exist. They went silently into the night, and no one seemed to notice. There were no parades, no headlines, no drums, no bugles. That victory only took 45 years. And very few appreciated or were even aware that the very thin thread holding the nuclear sword of Damocles had not been broken. During the dreadful October in 1962, it began to fray as we reached DEFCON 2 with the Soviets, but it held. The attached picture represents just one small piece of that war. It represents about 100 such aircraft in England, Italy, Turkey, Germany, Okinawa, South Korea, and Taiwan that sat nuclear alert every day, all night, and all the days of the year, and with various fighters all over all the years of that 45-year war. From the clanging of the alarm to burner light, 5 minutes to get those supersonic acolytes of death airborne. Guaranteed. Each fighter armed with a 1.1 megaton nuclear weapon, each manned with one highly motivated, extensively trained, frequently evaluated, dedicated bomb commander. The term given only to fighter pilots authorized to deliver nuclear weapons. Think of bomb commander as the ultimate James Bond license to kill, only with a nuke in place of a Walther PPK. Day and night, regardless of weather, we were going. Target and en route winds updated at frequent intervals. All routes, times, altitudes committed to memory. The fate of the target as well as those nearby was as certain as Euclidean geometry. There on the hard stand, the fighter awaits the fighter pilot, a deadly catalyst required to produce the ultimate Armageddon. The attached picture captures it all. The F-105 with the end of civilization in her belly, the pilot's helmet, parachute, and gloves neatly placed in the empty cockpit, the desolate hard stand whose only companion is the lone air policeman with orders to shoot to kill if any unauthorized intrusion is detected, and the launch words inside the black sealed plastic envelope on the top of the instrument panel. 18 F-105s on their hard stands, 18 bomb commanders in their alert building, waiting, ready. It's 2 a.m. The klaxon sounds. My crew chief and I, always dressed and ready, race to our plane. The crew chief pulls the gear pins and completes a dozen critical checks while I climb the ladder into the cockpit. The canopy is already unlocked. I slide into my seat. My hands automatically turn on the battery and the cockpit lights while I slip into the chute, fasten my helmet strap, and connect my G-suit and oxygen systems and strap in. With a glance at my chief's nodding approval, I depress the start button. The smell of cordite from the onboard cartridge starter drifts into my cockpit as the engine climbs through her octaves to idle. I close the canopy. I check with the command post and receive the words. I open the launch envelope knowing that if the words match, I will be on takeoff roll in 2 minutes with afterburners flame accelerating us towards an air defense center in the middle of Shanghai. In 1963, Shanghai had a population of 10,816,500 people. My weapon yield was 1.1 million megatons of nuclear explosion. If the words do not match, I will be back in the alert shack trying to get back to sleep while imagining the millions of lives that would have been snuffed out as if those words matched. Reflecting back on these days, getting back to sleep then was not easy. As it turns out, not much easier now. With apologies to Fantine, those targets still come at night. I live in this alert pad 10 days each and every month, ready, prepared, no doubts, no distractions, no regrets. I'm 24 years old. I live 7,500 miles from my home on an island in the East China Sea. I'm married with one little boy and a doggie in a 600 square foot house a few miles from the hard stand. I receive $525 each month for this job. That, as well as the trust and confidence of my country and a lifelong companionship with true warriors. And I was never young again. John C. Morrissey. I get things like this and I take a moment to read them and reflect upon them, and it gives me chills. I am removed from this generation, probably by one generation or so. But I remember as a kid growing up on Air Force Base seeing these jets. I saw them in Germany. I saw them in Okinawa. I saw them in Ramey, Puerto Rico. Although they were B-52s, they still sat alert. And I think about the men and women today who sit alert, protecting our nation with the Homeland Defense mission. And I have nothing but total respect for these folks because I know what they give of their lives for our safety and for America. So with that, I am humbled to have been affiliated with these people, and I salute you.